Dan, thank you. Welcome to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Ram Trucks. From the home of the Blues, it's the American Conference on ESPN. Playoff implications tonight in the group of 5. Memphis eyeing a playoff berth, home for the Green Wave of Tulane. Jake Retzloff, the Tulane gunslinger. Brendan Lewis, quarterback for Memphis. Both QBs also lead their teams in rushing. Here's what's at stake. Tulane's playoff odds improved considerably with a win tonight. Memphis right there in the thick of the playoff picture. Their odds go from 19% to 25% with a win. And good evening, Anish Shroff, Heisman Trophy winner Andre Ware. We'll get to Paul Carcaterra in a minute. We've got two dynamic quarterbacks with a lot on the line tonight. Let's start with Tulane. Jake Retzloff, a bit of a gunslinger, but boy, he's got a penchant for magic.
Yeah, he really does. And when he's on, he's on. It's kind of like a shooting guard that's streaky. When he gets going, man, he can dial it up. He can hit every area of the field. And then when he pulls the ball down, he's their leading rusher. He can make plays with his legs. He's dynamic in the passing game. He's everything you want at the quarterback position until he starts to turn it over, and that's what gets him in trouble when he goes outside of the offense a little bit. But when he's right, Anish, he is dynamic.
We saw that last year at BYU. Meanwhile, Brendan Lewis, the Nevada transfer, he has left 2 of the last 3 games with an injury. He's been bothered by an ankle. We expect to see him play tonight. He's thrown for 300 in a game this season. He's also run for 100.
Yeah, he is every bit the dual threat quarterback. Leads his team in rushing as well. We've been doing this a while. When's the last time we had a game where both quarterbacks lead their teams in rushing? This guy is dynamic in his own right. He can pull it down, stands tall in the pocket, and delivers the football with accuracy. Last week's game, 81% completion percentage, so he gets it done both running and throwing.
He's a big reason why Memphis is in the projected playoff bracket. And Paul Carcaterra, this Tigers team has done it with the most newcomers in college football.
That's right, Anish. In a day and age where too many newcomers can blow up the chemistry of the locker room, Memphis has figured it out. And the Tigers have 78 newcomers. That's most in the FBS, and they're all playing critical pieces to the recent success of the program, which includes 11 straight home victories, 12 straight seasons with a bowl appearance, potentially 3 straight 10-win seasons, and most importantly, while we're playing tonight in such a huge spot, a run at a college football playoff. And head coach Ryan Silverfield told us there were so many unknowns heading into the season, but this group showed so much mental toughness. Well, gentlemen, he's also showed us he is one heck of a program builder.
Yeah, it's hard, Cart, to bring in 78 players and develop the type of chemistry that Memphis has, and he's been able to do that. You mentioned it, the 3 in a row for 10-win seasons. That's at stake for Memphis. It's been a nice run with these 78 new players in the building.
Meanwhile, John Summerall, he's been a hot name with all these big-time coaching openings. His focus for the moment is to try to get Tulane back into the thick of that playoff race. The American Conference wide open, 6 teams with 1 league loss here in November.
Yeah, he's done an outstanding job of coaching against the teams in the American. 13-3 overall against teams in his 2 years as the head coach at Tulane. He's 38-11 overall. I say all that to say the man just knows how to win football games, and there's a reason he's on just about everybody's list as a hiring candidate.
Memphis won the toss, elected to receive. The Tigers have scored on their opening drive in 8 of 9 games this season. And for Memphis, the path to the playoff is very simple. If they win their final 3 regular season games and win the American Conference Championship, they'll have the best resume and the conference championship that's needed for a group of 5 team. They're a playoff team if they win out.
Yeah, and they have, East Carolina left. That won't be easy having to go there, as well as Navy. But they get a week off in between to prep for Navy, so they're catching it at just the right time.
And tonight they've got to get through Tulane, and the Tigers will bring it out to the 25-yard line. We mentioned Brendan Lewis, the team's leading rusher. He's left 2 of the last 3 games with an injury. It's his 6th year of college. He came over from Nevada. They've had a pretty strong run of pocket passers here at Memphis over the last 10+ years. He brings a dual threat element to this offense. That's different.
You just wonder how much of a running threat he's going to be tonight with an ankle injury that's kind of slowed him down the last couple of weeks. But if he's right, man, he adds an element to this Memphis offense.
He will throw on first down. It's to the far side of the field, and out across the 30-yard line goes Jaden Thompson. That's the Louisville transfer.
Want to get him more involved in the offense along with Jamari Hawkins. C.J. Smith is another receiver that Memphis wants to get incorporated into this offense somehow.
Throw to the wide side, and that's Cortez Bram, one of the top receivers in the American. He was Lewis's teammate last year at Nevada.
And a guy, big target at 6'2", leads the American with 7 touchdown catches. So when you get him in the red zone, man, is he dynamic. But he's got speed. He is their top receiver in the passing game, that's for sure.
It's going to bring up 3rd down.
Back in the box is Tulane.
Out of a 2 tight end set. And this is Greg DeWozier, and he's going to be a little short. According to this spot, it brings up a 4th down. So a Memphis team that had been so good on their opening drive, a little shy. Let's see what they do here on 4th down and less than a yard deep in their own zone.
You talk about production. DeWozier gives you that. Over 200 yards rushing against FAU earlier this season. Actually, a couple of weeks ago, or last year, and then 90 of that was a big touchdown run that he had.
Memphis 10 of 14 on 4th down.
Trying to get Tulane to jump off sides. I can't imagine them snapping the football, and they got what they wanted. Actually, they all started. So it's going to be a punt now for Memphis, and Tulane with some pretty good field position.
That's a promising start for a Tulane defense that was absolutely picked apart last Thursday at UTSA.
It's just kind of a head scratcher in that game. Going down to San Antonio, nothing went right, turned the ball over 4 times, and that's part of their game plan tonight. And one of the keys to victory for Tulane is to just not turn it over.
Lachlan Carrigan, the Australian, to punt it away. Omari Hayes lets this bounce. It takes a Tulane bounce and knocked out of bounds after a 36-yard kick.
That game against UTSA was a head scratcher. They had everything in front of them, and they just went to San Antonio and were flat.
Jake Retzlaff transferred in for BYU in the offseason. He's had some big games. This is a Tulane team that has wins against Northwestern and Duke. In the Duke game, Retzlaff had 4 rushing touchdowns.
He can make plays with his legs. He's got 9 on the season on the ground and another 7 through the air. This guy can play the position.
Off play action, a shot play for Preston. Makes the catch in stride. Touchdown.
Big time playmaker in this Tulane offense is Shaz Preston, and wow, did he get behind coverage. Retzlaff couldn't have gone down and dropped it in his hands any better. Clean spiral right out in front of Preston, who never had to break stride, and Tulane with a big play here early against Memphis. What a throw and catch.
65 yards to the former 5-star recruit who began his career at Alabama.
Up behind Duke Cooper, the excellent corner from Memphis.
So Tulane's defense with a strong opening statement. They get a 3 and out. It took the offense only 1 play.
One big play over the top to Shaz Preston. Tulane with an early lead here in Memphis.
Schroff, Andre Ware, Shaz Preston with a 65-yard splash play. Yes,
Love it.
eating early.
Yeah, feed the man. You talk about a big-time weapon in this offense. If they get him unlocked and going, and that's all that man does is just win football games. What a good football coach John Sumrall is.
Fair catch called for, which gives Memphis the ball at the 25. Second drive here for the Tigers after they went 3 and out the first time. Kark mentioned 78 newcomers, the most in college football.
It's hard to build a team from a chemistry standpoint when you bring in 70 new bodies, but yet still Ryan Silverfield has this team on the verge of winning 10 games again for the 3rd consecutive year. Just amazing production here at Memphis.
Lewis moves the pocket, able to check it down for a short gain to his tight end, Ross. And Silverfield, Andres, had to use some camp counselor tactics.
Yeah.
He was telling us one of the things he did to build chemistry, he had players put up a photograph in their locker of somebody important. Then they would talk about it. Guys would open up. Other things you do in the cafeteria.
Yes. Seniors mixed with freshmen, getting to know each other, and just all the stuff you do to team build. And obviously it's worked.
On the ground, big hole, and across the 40-yard line goes Greg DeWosier. Actually, that's Frank Bizan.
A nice run and a nice job up the middle. Walker, the center, Mitchell, Breland, those guys moving bodies up front and created a nice crease for Bizan.
Bizan coming off that 3-touchdown game last week against Rice. Lewis, too much helium, 2nd down.
Well, Jack Chinchu with some pretty good coverage there on the back end. Hawkins the intended receiver, but Chinchu was right there with him, and maybe a blessing in disguise for Brendan Lewis that it was high, because Chinchu may have picked that thing off.
Sam Howard, 15 and white, back for Tulane after missing the last 2 games. They say
they have missed him.
He is the emotional heartbeat of that defense. They say he's a thermostat, not a thermometer. When he's in a room, he changes the temperature. That's DeWosier, who had 3 TDs against Tulane last year, and it's Howard with the tackle.
Yeah, Howard comes in with 31 tackles, but you mentioned the 2 games that he missed. He is a tackling machine and just plays the game. He's a captain. They love him. This team responds to his leadership and just loves playing the game. Every day to him is game day.
There's also just something about a linebacker
with a neck brace.
You took the words out of my mouth. On 3rd down, Lewis steps up, has a man open downfield, flag down, touchdown Memphis. If it stands, Jamari Hawkins.
And you can go deep, so can we. Let's see if this stands. There is a flag back at around the 41-yard line or so of Tulane. Let's see what this penalty is going to be here, but it doesn't look like they're bringing the ball back, and they're spotting it at about the 2-yard line. So let's see here for the extra point.
$55 yards to Jamari Hawkins.
We weren't joking when we told you we had 2 pretty good quarterbacks going tonight. You get Retzloff with a big one over the top, and right back at you comes Brendan Lewis.
Personal foul, defense.
Gianni Spedic.
Face mask. The 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the succeeding kickoff. It's touchdown.
That is the first touchdown for Jamari Hawkins. He's been looking for one for a while and finally gets in the end zone without.
Memphis, they have the pyramid. They used to have boxing fights there. Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson fought each other there.
Well,
we're trading haymakers already.
Through the first haymaker, and then all of a sudden, Jamari Hawkins comes back with his haymaker. Right back in it comes Memphis.
ESPN College Football is presented by RAM, official sponsor of the College Football Playoff.
Tuesday is Veterans Day, and members of the armed forces showing their support for their favorite team, Tulane or Memphis, and we salute all of our veterans as we get ready for Veterans Day coming up this Tuesday. Electric start in a game with a lot of playoff stakes. Memphis was not in the top 25 when the playoff rankings came out this past Tuesday, but they were in the projected field. And if they win out, take care of business, they'll be in the playoff as Tulane starts at its own 25. The first drive for Tulane took one play. Jake Retzlaff, a 65-yard touchdown pass to Shaz Preston.
He is good. He is really good. See if Memphis can make the necessary adjustments on the back end to take the shot plays away from Retzlaff and make him earn his way down the field. That's usually when he runs into trouble. He likes plays like that first play where he can just kind of make things happen.
Two tight ends here on first down. A true freshman, Javen Gordon, bayonets through the defense all the way out to the 37. A gain of a dozen. Maurice Turner was the guy Tulane had penciled in to be their lead back. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy, and Gordon has assumed the mantle of RB1.
Yeah, he's really stepped up. Young, talented, great size as a true freshman. 5'10", 5'11", about 200 pounds. Runs tough between the tackles and does a nice job of catching it out of the backfield.
Right back to Gordon. Flashes across midfield, and there is a flag down.
I think this may go against one of the receivers for Tulane for a hold on the outside edge. When you throw your hands up like that, you're almost asking for the official to call it. Just, act like you've been there where you're supposed to be there.
10-yard penalty. It's still
throw your
first
hands
down.
up, hey, I didn't do it. And now they're going to take a deeper look at you.
They get Anthony Brown-Stevens, who is the nephew of John Legend.
He's got some big-time speed. He can get deep. For a minute, I thought it was him on the end of that pass by Retzlaff, and it was Preston.
It's a Tulane offense that is one where the sum is greater than the parts, but Retzlaff makes it go as the trigger man and able to find Brown-Stevens on the near side 40.
That's
gain of 9.
Here on the left hash, the far side of the field, and he throws a sit down back to Brown-Stevens, and it's on a rope. Tells you a little bit about the arm strength of Jake Retzlaff. He can make every single throw. We got to see him at BYU a couple of times last year, and I tell you what, we left impressed with how he plays the game at that position.
And he had a knack, and he's done it this year too. With the game on the line, he plays at his best. Off play action, he's got his tight end in the flat, and Reed rumbles into Memphis territory. He's got a first down for Tulane.
He's the receiving threat at tight end for Tulane. Big guy at 6'5", the frame, 255. He's a pretty good edge blocker to go along with it, but they count on him big time when they want to push the ball down the field. He can get. He's got enough speed to get up the seam. Knows defenses. He's available in zone coverage.
Two backs here in the game on 1st and 10. Zuberi Mobley, the FAU transfer. Kark?
Retzlaff is looking super comfortable. Keep in mind, his first 6 games, he didn't throw a pick. His last 2, He threw 3, and he was pulled in that game against UTSA, but he is on fire early in this game. And John Summerall, when we asked him which direction he was going to go with his quarterback, he did not hesitate. He's believed in this guy forever. He recruited him when he was at JUCO.
Yeah.
And Summerall was at Troy. It was his first offer before he ended up at BYU. He loves this guy.
A strike over the middle, and it's hauled in near the 15, the fifth-year senior Bryce Bohannon.
What a throw. I mean, watch the eyes of Retzlaff. Retzlaff's eyes, he's looking left, he comes back right and spins it right up the seam. I mean, looking coverage off against zone, keeping the safety in his spot, and then firing a strike right down the seam.
Andre, they talked a lot about his footwork. They say when his feet are right, everything else falls into place.
He's got tremendous arm strength. He can spin it. You saw it on that last play. But man, that kind of frames everything up for you. When your feet are right, you're pointed in the right direction, you can do what you need to do.
Little quarterback power. Retzlaff, the team's leading rusher. And he's tackled by the nickelback Kamari Wilson. This is the area where Tulane has struggled the last few weeks, the red zone.
Yeah, 17 touchdowns. They're about 85% overall in the red zone, but only 5 touchdowns over the last 13 red zone appearances. So this is where, you know, you win and lose a lot of games down here, putting up the extra 4 points versus the 3 that you get for just a field goal.
Especially against a team like Memphis, which is elite in the red zone. Jabari McClure, just his 6th carry of the season. And it's Sam Brumfield, Memphis' leading tackler, coming up with the stop.
He's got an extra gear, a gear that some of these other backs don't have, and just a dynamic playmaker. They're trying to get him reincorporated into their game plan, get him some more reps to take advantage of exactly that, his speed into this offense.
The issue with McClure has been ball security. Retzlaff to run.
Couldn't quite get away. Drew Watts, the outside linebacker. He played 4 years at Nevada before coming to Tulane. He's the guy that makes that stop.
4th down. Tulane keeps its offense out of the field. Nope, they say 1st down. He got the 1st down. So 1st and goal at the 5.
Get a few shots at it right here. 3 and then maybe a 4th, depending on the progress that they make or if they need all 4 downs. Tightening it up with a couple of extra tight ends in the game.
Gordon gets to the edge. Stiff arm into the end zone for a Tulane touchdown.
This freshman, this kid is good. Going to hear a lot about him in the coming years. He's got speed, he's got toughness, runs with a good, nice pad level, and he just knows how to take advantage of where you are defensively. Sets up blocks well. Tulane, boy, they came to play tonight.
You saw Retzlaff going into the tent. Tulane, 2 drives, 2 scores. And the PAT by Durkin Good.
Boy, Gordon just finding a nice spot on the outside, fighting to get to the pylon. He's going to give Tulane a 14-7 lead.
And Texas Tech with one of the best pass rushes in the country, but Bachmeier continues to get better and better game by game.
2 pretty good quarterbacks going at it in that game. And A&M going to Missouri.
Lewis in trouble, and down he goes. Mo Westmoreland with the sack for Tulane.
Mo with his first, a lot of first in this game. His first sack of the season. Kind of benefiting from a missed tackle by Jaheim Johnson, and then Westmoreland cleans things up and puts Memphis behind the chains.
Johnson
that is huge.
Came on the corner blitz that time. 2nd down. Little check down. It's Sutton Smith. One thing Memphis has had over several years now, whether it's Tony Pollard or Darrell Henderson or Kenny Gainwell, it's a running back who can catch. Sutton Smith, add him to that list.
He's a guy, very productive player. 98.5 all-purpose yards per game for Sutton Smith. Started his career as a running back, and that's why he's so good out of the backfield or catching the ball out of the backfield as a receiving option. But he can, don't get it twisted, he can carry it between the tackles as well. Tough player.
Lewis shot third down. That's brought in shy of the 30. It's Bram, his top receiver. It's going to bring up a fourth down for Memphis.
Tulane played it well, Anish. They just sat back in zone. And, hey, you get to the marker, we're going to tackle you short. You're on your end of the field and force you to punt it. That's exactly how things played out. You get to 2nd and 19. That is tough to overcome.
Carrigan's punt. Fielded by Hayes. And nowhere to go. 46-yard punt. No return. Okay, this is what happened to Jake Retzlaff on the last Tulane drive.
Yeah, he got tackled by Drew Watts, who had him around the ankle. Kind of gave it a twist, and then he comes up gimpy on the touchdown run to Gordon. He's been in the tent for a while. Well, let's see if he indeed takes the field.
It's going to be Brendan Sullivan.
Yeah, Retzlaff was limping pretty good after that handoff to Gordon, and so they put him in the tent quickly, and we'll get a word to you as soon as they update things for us.
Sullivan relieved Retzlaff last week against UTSA, went 6 for 7. He's got some wheels. He's hit as he throws. Incomplete, out of bounds.
Sullivan was actually leading the competition through the fall. Had an injury that he didn't get back from until a couple of weeks ago, where he was ruled 100%. But he's a fast guy. He could run 20, 21 miles an hour, and Retzlaff is trying to get right back in the game. He doesn't want to lose control or grasp of that job for very long. So he is out of the tent and ready to roll.
Second down, and Gordon gets devoured immediately.
Jake Retzlaff didn't just exit the tent. He sprinted from one end of the field to the other and wanted to get back into that game. But, Andre, you mentioned Brendan Sullivan is a capable backup. He was leading the race to be the starter until week 3 when he was injured on a goal line play and practice. And he's an athlete, too. He could run 21 miles per hour, but make no mistake about it, this is the hot hand right now in Retzlaff, and good news for Tulane in this monster third down.
He's perfect in this game.
Retzlaff back in. All day. And now he's got to flush it, nobody open.
And they may get him for grounding here. I don't think he was outside the tackle box, and the only white jersey in the area was an offensive lineman, and there comes the flag.
Intentional grounding. Offense number 12. Lost it down at the spot of the foul. It's not fourth down.
I think the only guy close to the football was Reese Baker. He's their starting right tackle. Whitlow, Memphis's defensive end, and their best pass rusher was right in the face of Retzlaff on that play. Pretty quick.
Alec Clark with a booming kick. Sutton Smith, a dangerous return man, upended near the 35-yard line. Ryan Silverfield succeeded Mike Norvell at Memphis, and he has continued to build on what Justin Fuente and Norvell put in as the foundation for this program. This is the high renaissance of the program. Back-to-back 10-win seasons that had never been done. They're 2 wins away from doing it for a 3rd straight year.
And 4 straight bowl wins. I mean, if you want a program builder, this is your guy. This is a guy, all he does is win football games. And as you mentioned, they have an opportunity to put together a 3rd consecutive season of 10 wins. That's unbelievable.
They beat USF this year. They beat Arkansas this year. There goes Sutton Smith. He had been bottled up the last few weeks. He rips off a run of 22.
Talked about the production. Good receiver out of the backfield, but he can do this as well. Where they give it to him and let him run between the tackles. Has great speed to go along with some playmaking ability, and it makes him just flat out dangerous.
They go right back to him, and he's met by Sam Howard. Howard is a guy who finished the ECU game with a cracked fibula. He's now playing with a foot plate.
It's amazing. You know, most guys, it would take 4 to 6 weeks. He's back in about half that time. The coaches think that he's got NFL level talent. And I mentioned earlier, every day is game day for Sam Howard, and his motor is just unreal.
They set up the tunnel screen, and there's Cortez Bram again, 2nd in the American in receiving yards.
He's their top receiver, and mentioned earlier, leads the American with 7 touchdown catches. So this is a guy you got to know where he lines up every single time, because he's a guy that can hit you for big ones. After the catch, whether it's through a tunnel screen like that or just utilizing his speed to get over the top. Comes the blitz.
Final seconds, 1st quarter. Lewis evading the pursuit, throws downfield. He's got an open man inside the 30, all the way down close to the 20-yard line. DeWosier, his running back, for a gain of 22, and Lewis is limping. Remember, he's left 2 of the last 3 games with an injury.
Back in Memphis with Tulane head coach John Summerall. With Memphis's offense being so multiple with their dual threat quarterback, Brandon Lewis, what's the best way to defend them?
Well, you got to get them off schedule on an early down, get them behind the chains. If they're allowed to stay on schedule, they're a real problem. They got a bunch of good players all over the field in the skill positions. And we got to create a negative or 2 to put them in tight spots.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Yeah, Clark, that's exactly right. When Memphis was faced with 2nd and 19, hard for them to overcome it. It forced a punt, and Tulane went right down the field and put points on the board.
And a new quarterback for Memphis. It's Arrington Maiden. So the hope for Memphis is that the ankle hasn't flared up too bad. Maiden with a big hole. Touchdown. First play. Maiden voyage to the end zone.
Nice hole right up the middle for Maiden. And a nice block, kick out block, and then he was off to the races. An excellent play fake to the back, and that took about 3 defenders with him. And it just opened things up right in the middle of the formation for Arrington Maiden. But what a nice response to a Tulane touchdown, or a Tulane drive to go up 14. You need points, right back in this thing.
For 20 years, Allstate has celebrated every field goal and extra point made at participating universities by donating to the university's athletic scholarship fund, supporting all student athletes. Thank you to Allstate. A lot of congestion in the American Conference. You've got 6 teams entering the weekend, all with 1 loss in conference play. Memphis is one of those teams where they don't have to worry about anybody else as long as they handle their business.
Take care of their business. And Tell you what, we got two heavyweights going at it in this one. Tulane not backing down whatsoever, with Memphis being the home team, and now they get to hold serve here and see if they can continue to score.
This league has seen a lot of transformation and a change over the last few years. Powers like UCF, Cincinnati, and Houston leaving for the Big 12, but Memphis and Tulane, we have seen these programs rise up. Tulane did it with Willie Fritz. It started at Memphis under Justin Fuente, and they've become, in many ways, the flag bearers for the American Conference. You can't count out Navy with that option offense. South Florida, they've got to win against Florida and Boise State already. North Texas has a pretty easy remaining schedule. They've got a terrific quarterback in Drew Mestemaker. And again, if you're ECU, you're thinking, okay, Memphis comes to the Boneyard next week. Not an easy place to win.
It is tough to go there and win football games, but you look just all through the conference, you got, teams knocking one another off. Temple having an outstanding year for the Owls up there in Philadelphia.
They nailed their coaching hire with K.C. Keeler.
Oh, yes, they did. That's another guy that's a program builder and just a winner.
Retzlaff in the game. First down, he hands it off to Duda Barnes. Engulfed back at the 21, a loss of 4. It's Duke Cooper from the quarterback position.
He had a great start to the season, did Barnes, and just kind of slowed down and allowed Gordon to get more work along with Mobley. He is very much in the rotation for this Tulane offense.
It's running back by committee. It's receiver by committee. Delayed pressure. Contested. And that is a catch by Preston at the 36-yard line and a first down.
Well, you give Retzlaff this type of time. The pocket just clean. And the accuracy and that type of arm talent's going to wear you out if Memphis can't get better pass rush and get in the face of Jake Retzlaff.
Andre, both quarterbacks, a combined 13 out of 14. They knew you were here tonight.
They're playing some football, man.
Here comes Gordon. A pickup of 6.
He is fun to watch. And this offensive line, they've only given up 7 sacks the entire year. Really good up front. They play together. They take care of things, and they got a lot of experience up there.
The left side is their strength with Graham and Hurst, 2 first-team all-conference players last year. Plenty of time again. Bohannon is open. And another first down for Tulane, this time at the 34. It's a gain of 24.
Boy, just over the outstretched hands of one of the secondary players. But when you give this type of pocket, and he's just going to wear you out. I mean, the arm talent is just sick with the accuracy. You got to find a way to get in his face.
He's running quarterback power. He gets pummeled after a short gain. If you're Memphis, I know there's some risk involved with a running quarterback, but do you start to bring more pressure?
I think so. I think you got to get more bodies to the line of scrimmage, start to try to confuse and cloud the looks for Retzlaff. Otherwise, he's just gonna nickel and dime you to death, and then hit you over the top when you come up. So we've seen that already. I don't know that I would run him much, having gone to the 10 already. I think it's just one of those runs that it keeps the defense honest and letting you know that, hey, it's still there if we need to get to it.
It's a pistol wishbone. Retzlaff keeps it. He's got a blocker in front of him. Reed clears the path for a touchdown.
And he is literally dragging his leg that we saw Drew Watts twist, and is able, it's so clean, he's able to just turn the corner with little to no resistance and get himself into the end zone. What a job of blocking out on the edges by these Tulane receivers.
It's the 10th rushing touchdown of the season for Retzlaff.
He's keeping this place quiet. It's ready to explode But Tulane won't let it.
You get the sense 21's not going to be enough tonight.
Maybe double that may not be enough tonight. What a job by Retzlaff getting into the end zone, giving Tulane a 7-point lead.
From Memphis, it's ESPN College Football Primetime presented by Ram Trucks. Memphis and Tulane both in the conversation for the college football playoff. It's the highest ranked group of 5 conference champion. And Memphis, while not in the top 25 when the rankings came out on Tuesday, for now, they are in the projected field as the 12 seed. Now, keep an eye on James Madison. That's one team outside of the American that's got a chance too. For now, we check in with Bristol and Zubin.
Anish will have all those G5 odds for you coming up at the half. DJ Manuel, I'm Zubin Mehenti, and Connor Wegeman making some mistakes down here in Orlando.
Yeah, he throws his pass inside, and this is a great play by Phillip Dunn right before the end of the first half, stealing some points right there.
24-17. Meanwhile, this is a really big game for USC trying to stay in the playoff hunt. Northwestern has punched it in. We're tied. We'll see at the half.
All right, Zubin. Brendan Lewis back in, zone read keeper, flag down.
Both quarterbacks kind of limping through this thing here in the first half. Tell Brendan Lewis his ankle's giving him some problems. Retzlaff, he has a lower leg injury that he was kind of dragging to the end zone in their last play. Both these teams are having some big time production on first down. Tulane, it's 10 yards on first down. Memphis is 8.1.
Personal foul, illegal blindside block, offense. Half the distance to the goal, still first down.
Let's go back and take a look. Can't turn back towards your goal line. And they get Graham for it. But I mean, both guys' plays continuing on. They want flags right away. Defensive guys know about that penalty, don't they?
Sure do. So now first down and 22. Lewis is 8 for 9. Make it 8 for 10. Wanted DeWosier out of the backfield.
And I mean, DeWosier may have run for a long time. You may still be making that call. If all you got to do is give it to him. Sometimes you're trying to be too perfect, or just put the ball on him, within his frame, let him catch it, and then, you know, make a move, do what he's got to do on the back end of it, but you can't overthrow and miss that opportunity.
Tulane showing blitz. It's a 4-man rush. Howard chasing Lewis, who chucks it out of bounds. Kark?
We know about the ankle injury with Brendan Lewis, and he didn't receive any medical attention the last time he was on the sideline. Don't be surprised if Arrington Maiden has some designed run packages. He's a run-first quarterback. Lewis, they want to conserve him a bit. Let him beat you with his arm.
And Tulane's going to force him to do exactly that here on 3rd and 22. They are all the way back to about the 35-yard line.
Rushing 3, dropping 8. It's a run play. And not much for DeWosier. Did get 8, but well shy of the first down marker. So 4th down, Memphis to punt, and Tulane now with a chance to go up by 2 scores.
You have to be impressed with the way Tulane's playing right now, both on offense and defense. And any type of return here on this punt return, they're gonna, with Mari Hayes, they're gonna have some great field position to start their next drive.
Fair catch, called for and made after a 44-yard kick by Carrigan.
Our Friday night spotlight is on Shadre Hurst, the Tulane offensive lineman from Cartersville, Georgia. Hurst is part of an offensive line group that's allowed only 7 sacks all season. He was a state champion heavyweight wrestler in the Peach State and was ranked 11th nationally. Shadre loves to cook food and was passionate about being in the kitchen in middle school and have cook-offs with family members. His favorite dishes to date include chili, smothered barbecue chicken, and 4-cheese pasta. He's fed up to 30 teammates at a time, and every morning wakes up and makes himself a complete breakfast, all for himself. I know someone who loves a sweet breakfast.
Andre, I tell you what, he's in the right city, New Orleans.
No doubt.
To be a culinary master.
No doubt. I don't know who Clark's talking about with a sweet breakfast.
I'm guessing it was the guy who had second helpings of the banana pudding. Jamari McClure picks up 5.
And you talk about all that Hurst has accomplished. He was a state powerlifting runner-up. So a guy that he just checks a lot of boxes in terms of being a good offensive lineman, just a redshirt junior. So has one more year, but man, he is some football player on that offensive line for Tulane.
Cartersville, Georgia, same high school as Trevor Lawrence. But the blitz coming, that throw on the money, and that's a first down for Anthony Brown-Stevens. Retzlaff a perfect 7 for 7 to go along with a 33-yard rushing touchdown in this first half.
That tack on whatever he had there to the 150 he had before that throw as a touchdown pass, a touchdown run, and just unfazed by a blitzer that came free right in his face on that play. You talk about dialed in tonight. Jake Retzlaff is exactly that.
Coming off his worst game of the season. Off play action. Another deep shot. That's caught. It's a Tulane touchdown. No flags on the field. Anthony Brown-Stevens. This Tulane offense had been waiting to wake up and hit some explosive plays. They found some tonight.
Yeah, there are a couple of guys on this team that you can't leave in one-on-one coverage without help over the top. And Brown-Stevens is certainly one of them. He gets behind Duke Cooper and kind of houses it. That's the second time. Preston got Cooper the first time. Brown-Stevens got him that round. Something that they spotted on film with deep shots against Cooper.
Cooper had a couple of stints at Florida State, a trip to Boulder. He's been picked on.
You cannot give Retzlaff this type of time. Cooper slips, and then it's Brown-Stevens to the end zone. Tulane up by 2 touchdowns. Let's go back and take a look at the touchdown pass from Retzlaff to Brown-Stevens. That's his read, right in the middle. The safety's going to flatten out with the tight end to that side. The play action goes that way. Everything tells him run, and he just flattens out. He sits there. That gives the post route to Brown-Stevens, working against the corner Cooper, and you can't cover for that long. Retzlaff, it's like he's throwing or having a 7-on-7 session here. No pass rush whatsoever. You give him that kind of time, he's going to make you pay.
He's got time to read a book back there. Week 10 of the NFL starts with the Sunday NFL Countdown crew at 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. George Kittle's tribute to vets. Drake May, conversation with him. He has taken the leap. And then the Monday night game, maybe an NFC Championship preview. Eagles going to Lambeau to take on the Packers. Eagles beat the Packers in the playoffs last year, although Green Bay lost at home last weekend to the upstart Carolina Panthers.
Big win for the Panthers.
Lewis finds Bram. Pinballs off a defender to the 40, a gain of 15.
Got to get Bram going. Hawkins again, Bussey, all these weapons, and then the 3 running backs. It's been mostly Sutton Smith and DeWosier, but Pisot's got to get going as well.
DeRosier, swallowed up by a green wave, picks up 2. Sixth-year senior, second with Memphis.
You got to give credit where credit's due. I mean, Tulane coming in here on the road, big win. Everybody knows what's at stake, and they have really kind of taken it to Memphis here in the first half.
Defenses come up with stops. Big bounce back game for Retzlaff. Lewis standing in the pocket and delivers a strike.
He looks good
to midfield.
You see that on video when you're getting ready for a game like this. Lewis, you talk about being a dual threat quarterback, but in order to have that effect on a defense, you got to be able to complete passes to open things up for yourself in the run game. And boy, he looks good when in the pocket, just delivering the football with accuracy.
He never looks panicked or rushed. Lewis keeps and dives inside the 40. 11 for the Nevada transfer.
In there with an ankle, that is tough, especially when you want to push off and run. And once you kind of get started, it's okay. It's just getting started where you got to use it to cut and push and get to where you're trying to get vertical up the field. That's a nice run by Lewis.
Quick throw to the right side. That's brought in by Marcelo Bussi. Let's go back to Brendan Lewis. He began his career in Colorado. Actually started 12 games for the Buffs back in 2021. Lost his job the following season. And then before Dion and Shador got there, he entered the transfer portal, went to Nevada, was a 2-year starter, all conference, and came to Memphis. They weren't quite sure what kind of passer he would be. He has more than impressed them as a true dual threat. DeRosier with the contact balance. And a first down for Memphis, a gain of 17.
Boy, just got kind of backed out of there, got righted, and got himself going again. What a nice run and a nice block by Chris Adams. Malachi Breland on that left side. And regained his balance and got him some more on the tail end of that. He is a weapon, a big-time player, and mentioned earlier against Florida Atlantic earlier this year, he went for 204, and part of that was a 90-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, longest by a Tiger since 1966. Not much going on here on first down, a loss of a yard. This is where Memphis has been excellent this season. In the red zone, entering play, they were 38 of 39, 32 touchdowns, including 9 TDs in their last 11 red zone possessions.
So you're saying when they get in the red zone, they usually put 7 points on the board.
And it's because of the run game.
Yeah, because they have so many weapons in the run game and enough on the outside edges at receiver.
To the end zone for Graham. Incomplete. He was out of bounds.
Oh no, I thought maybe at 1 foot come down inbounds. Got to take a nice long look at this. One hand to bring it in.
Foots in. Does he control the ball? Let's bring in our rules analyst, Matt Austin. Matt, did he check off all the boxes needed for a completed catch?
This one's extremely close because he did get a foot down inbound. As Andre said, he is bringing the ball in. I don't think he firmly controlled the ball until he had already begun his step out of bounds. So I think this is actually going to stand or be upheld as an incomplete pass. I just don't see firm control while that foot's still on the ground.
I agree with you, Matt. I just like the effort. Sometimes I want to reward the effort. Man, what a play. Just kind of ran out of room about 3 inches more, and it's a touchdown catch. He is tough in the red zone with that big frame at 6'2" and over 200 pounds. Tough to handle down there because he's so strong.
He had the game-winning touchdown in the comeback win against South Florida. Well-traveled. Last year at Nevada, 2 years at West Virginia, 3 years in junior college. Won a court ruling to get a 7th season. That all started with Diego Pavia, the Vanderbilt quarterback, where the NCAA allowed players to essentially not count a year of junior college and apply that to eligibility at this level.
I think we're caught in the middle of a bunch of rules right now.
We're in the Wild West.
Yeah, I mean, big time.
Taking a long time to review this.
That pass by Lewis, just to give him an opportunity, putting it in the vicinity for Bram. That was nice. Well thrown. And if you're Memphis, you need a score here. You need the big points just to keep pace with what Retzlaff and the Tulane offense has been able to do.
Yeah, I'm not sure what else they're looking at here. I know, I think the ball is still moving down his belly with one hand on it as that foot comes off the ground. So I think this is kind of obvious that it's incomplete, but again, they could be looking at a different view that I'm not seeing.
I'm wondering, Matt, if they're saying he pinned it to his belly before the left foot came off the ground and he hits out of bounds. That may be what the long look is.
It certainly could be, but it has to be clear and obvious to overturn the call. And at this point, I just don't think that it's clear and obvious that he's got it pinned. He might have, but might doesn't really come into play.
So close. You slow it down like the last look.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is upheld. It's an incomplete pass. It's third down.
They have the crowd worked up. You look at a play for that long,
absolutely you're going to get worked up. That was one of the largest boos I've heard in a while. I did not like that decision.
Instead of 3rd and 11 for Memphis. Tulane shows blitz.
4 wides here.
Man coverage all the way across. Pressure up the middle. Lewis steps up, trying to get away, and finally submerged. Santana Hopper and Sam Howard combined for the sack.
And you're Lewis, you want this back when you're watching film. When you escape from Rodgers, you want to throw it somewhere in the vicinity of a receiver and just maybe over his head to get the ball out and away from taking that sack. And then once he holds on to it, there are about 3 or 4 other white jerseys that are going to show up.
A 44-yarder for Spedick. On the season, he's 4 for 4 from 50 plus, just 1 for 4 between 40 and 49, and we got a penalty marker.
He's got a big leg. He hits him from 55 on the regular.
False start. Kicking team number 68. That penalty, 4th down.
It's going to continue to make this difficult for Spedick. It's Jonathan Young, a reserve tackle that's in the game for Memphis, that has the false start, and get to do this all over again now from about just about 50 yards or so, 49 yards.
49-yard kick. Plenty of leg.
I mean, plenty.
28-17. And we get a quick word from Verbo.
As your host, I have some rules. First, no showers longer than 5 minutes. This isn't a spa. That's the rule.
Meanwhile, at a Verbo, get the vacation you expect and never a hovering host.
I just get a good laugh out of that every time I see it. Every week I love it. Love it. Love it. Shows off the acting skills of Coach Saban.
And he's done a great job on game day since he's been part of the crew. And
outstanding job.
Not surprising. He won a lot of games and a lot of championships at Alabama. It's a new world order these days, though, in college football.
A lot of knowledge to pass on to fans that he kept under wraps for so long.
Tulane gets the ball first to begin the third quarter. They've got it now, and Jake Retzloff, after his worst game of the season last week, has been sublime tonight.
He comes out humming to Preston. A big touchdown run, kind of dragging that wheel along the way. And he comes back to Brown Stevens on a post route. It's like he's in a 7-on-7 session in practice. Jake Retzloff is dealing tonight.
He's averaging more than 26 yards per completion. Tulane as a team has 5 plays tonight of at least 24 yards. They have been searching for the explosives. Another strike. That's Trey Shackelford for a gain of 6.
Well, you could see exactly where Retzloff was going based on Chauncey Logan Jr.'s position. He was inside, and I'm sitting there thinking as I'm looking at it, if he's inside, just throw the hitch to the outside shoulder, and that's exactly where Retzloff is dialed into. He has watched a lot of film, knows where he's going with the ball pre-snap before he even gets the football.
On the ground, Gordon for a gain of a yard. It's third down. Sam Brumfield makes the tackle. One guy we have seen Tulane pick on is Duke Cooper, the cornerback for Memphis.
I was joking with you during one of the commercial breaks that right now I'd be winking at Duke Cooper. Come to the line of scrimmage, just kind of wink at him, let him know you're coming there. Watch him back off, throw underneath, then get him to bite and go over the top once again. But I would certainly play mind games with him if I were Jake Retzloff.
I think Memphis might be onto it because Cooper, one of their starting corners, is not on the field. And we get a timeout.
First charge timeout of the half. Tulane.
By Tulane.
30 seconds.
But as a quarterback who had a lot of success and threw for a lot of yards when you played at Houston, and when you found a guy that you could pick on, and you go back to that belt well, right?
We depended on a lot of things. There are a lot of factors. We had coaches upstairs. If a guy was limping, guess who we're going at? We're going at the guy that's limping. If you leave the game and a guy comes on, guess who we're going at? The guy that comes on the field. So when you find a weakness, you certainly pick at it, and that's exactly what I'd be doing in this situation. You kind of
give me the wink.
Give you the old wink when you come to the line of scrimmage, and that lets you know I'm coming right at you. You tense up a little bit, or you see it. When a guy gets winked at, they tend to drop their head. They know that the ball's coming their way.
That's the old quarterback, like a shark in water who gets a hint of blood.
Just continue to take the confidence away from him.
Pressure on Retzloff, and able to find an open receiver, Zycar Lewis. Ball comes out at the end of the play, and it's Memphis football.
Not sure if he came down on top of a Memphis player or not, but I thought for sure Lewis was down, and then the ball comes loose. Let's certainly take a closer look. That is very, very close.
Chauncey Logan forced the fumble. Let's bring in Matt Austin. Matt, what do you see here?
Yeah, it's really hard to tell if that ball is moving before his knee hits the ground or not. And remember, the call on the field is that it is a fumble. So it has to be clear and obvious to overturn. Again, I'm not sure I see clear and obvious to let him keep the ball.
Game clock operator. Please reset the game clock to 3 minutes and 9 seconds. 3:09.
I'm in agreement with Matt from the standpoint of this is ruled on the field as a catch and a fumble. I'm not sure I'm seeing enough to overturn it the other way in Tulane's favor, where Lewis's knee hits down first, then the ball comes out.
Our last replay review took a long time. Remember, in the old days, You know, the call would be confirmed or it would stand. You don't have to confirm or stand it. If there's not enough evidence, it's just upheld.
Yeah, I mean, there's legs blocking the view, all kinds of things. You lose the football in there.
Matt, can you see clearly if that ball is coming out before the knee goes down?
I cannot. I have not seen a view yet where I can actually see the hand separate from the ball. So.
And then just keep in mind, the ruling on the field was a catch and a fumble. And so I'm not seeing enough, Matt, to where I would overturn this if I were the review team here.
Yeah, I agree.
But once again, Retzlaff with a dime. I mean, he hits Lewis with a dime on a crossing route. You hold on to that, they're on their way to putting together another drive here before the 2-minute timeout.
Retzlaff 9 for 9, 216 passing, 2 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground.
I know where I think the ball is, but I'm not clearly seeing the football. The right knee comes down, and this may be the best look where the knee is down, but you still can't find the football. So you don't know if it's coming out, if it's moving at this point or not, and that's where I think the ruling on the field is definitely going to come into play here.
When it bleeds into the gray area, not sure, maybe it might be, you default to the call on the field.
Yep.
After reviewing the play, the ball carrier's knee was down with control. It's Tulane's ball, 1st and 10 at the 41-yard line. The game clock will start on my signal.
Oh, wow, my lying eyes. They lied to me. Somebody could see that ball that I didn't see in that replay on several different looks. I mean, I thought at one point I'm seeing the stripe on the ball. It turns out it was his wristband. I don't know. They have better eyes than I do. Well, I have glasses on right now.
Now, Matt Austin didn't think that call was getting changed either. It results in a 1st down for Tulane. And remember, the Green Wave also get the ball to begin the 3rd quarter. Bohannon the motion man. Retzlaff perfect. He remains perfect, and that is
a drop.
I jinxed it. I gave Justin Reed the catch before he could hang on. 1st incompletion for Retzlaff.
I'd go to Justin Reed as he's on his way back to the huddle and say, hey, you know I was perfect until that drop that you just had? You want to make it up to me? I'm going to come right back to you right here. You make it up to me right now.
Well, you know, Reed did have the lead block on Retzlaff's touchdown run.
That's true. So you excusing that drop? I don't know. I'm not sure I would be that forgiving that fast.
You give him the old wink-wink?
It's tough to go. It's tough to be perfect in a game.
Empty set, 2nd down. Edge pressure, Retzlaff into traffic. His receiver hangs on. It's Bohannon, and he takes a big hit. Tulane in plus territory.
Not a big guy at 5'9", 185 pounds, but shows some big-time toughness being hit and contacted by a middle linebacker in Broomfield. And he gets teed off on and is able to hold on to the football there. Amazing.
3rd catch by Bohannon.
He's spreading it around, isn't he?
300+ yards of total offense for Tulane. That's the freshman running back Gordon. He picks up 8. Brendan Sullivan was about to pop into the game, but
the 2-minute timeout.
We're at the 2-minute timeout. Tulane driving again. Their offense awake here in Memphis on a Friday night.
All right, coming up at the half, our quarterback, E.J. Manuel, on what's making Tulane's quarterback, Jake Retzlaff, so special tonight. When you think of Texas Tech, you think of the air raid, but there is another factor that is making their offense go. He breaks it down in the instruction manual, and a gotta-have-it game for USC if they want to stay in the playoff hunt. They're taking on Northwestern. Highlights coming up at the half. Anish.
Yeah, Tulane's got a chance tonight to make things quite interesting in the American over the month of November. Up 2 scores, looking for more. It's Gordon who gets the call on 2nd down. He's going to be close, and he's got enough. They say he's going to be short now. Originally,
but they're doing an outstanding job in terms of not leaving much time on the clock for Memphis to put a drive together and then trying to score the big points of their own before they go into halftime, getting the ball out of the locker room.
And now we get a penalty marker.
They call Bohannon.
False start. Offense, number 11. Memphis has declined the 10-second runoff. The game clock will start in the snap.
It's Trey Shackelford that flinched a little bit for Tulane.
And that's one you can't have. It's 3rd down and 1, now 3rd and 6.
Well, their average 3rd down to go has been 3rd and 2, and with that penalty, it backs them up and makes it more challenging. They played basically a perfect first half.
Now from here it could be 4-down territory. Barnes is the running back. A 4-man rush. Retzlaff finds Shackelford. He's got room to run. And zooms out of bounds after a gain of 22.
That's how you make up for a false start. Yeah, that's how you make up for that penalty, is catch one underneath and then turn it into another big play for Jake Retzlaff. And this Tulane offense just kind of drag across from the bottom. And Retzlaff just gives it time. He's got a lot of it, and nice job there by Shackelford for giving his number to his quarterback and then turning it into a big play.
And by getting out of bounds, he stopped the clock. More laundry.
Yeah, another false start here.
False start. Offense, number 50. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Right guard Jordan Hall, transfer from Liberty. Just giving Jake enough room to operate the passing game here.
How about Retzlaff's first half? 12 of 13. The one incompletion, a drop. 257 passing yards, 2 TDs, and another on the ground. Plenty of time again. And he finds his target. It is Lewis. 1st and goal at the 5.
I mean, the time is it's getting ridiculous that Memphis cannot even get close to Retzlaff. And he's so accurate, so much arm talent that it's easy for him tonight.
Tulane still has 2 timeouts, clock running. Under a minute.
2 tight ends in the game, along with Gordon.
To the end zone, wide open. Preston, his 2nd touchdown.
Third touchdown pass of the night for Jake Retzlaff.
I mean, he's had an Andre Ware type of first half.
It's just sick the way the protection has been. And then just kind of sidearms one in there, changing the arm angle and knifing one into Preston for his 2nd of the evening and 3rd for Retzlaff.
The lone blemish on Memphis's resume, a shocking loss to UAB. And that came right after UAB fired its head coach, Trent Dilfer.
Let's take a look at Jake Retzlaff here in the first half. Got to drive the ball down the seam. He's able to do that. Touch over the top. He's able to do that. changing arm angles to hit Brown Stevens. It's staring down the blitzer. He's still accurate with the football, getting contact and hit guys in his face all night, or when they finally get there, he's still able to complete the football. What a first half it's been for that young man tonight.
Now Memphis with 3 timeouts and 43 seconds. This may be perhaps the most important drive of this season when you consider what's at stake. Memphis trying to stay in the playoff hunt, looking to stay in the race to get to the conference championship. Tulane gets the ball first to begin.
They better take care of this bully in front of them first before any of that stuff happens, because right now they've got a formidable opponent in front of them, which is Tulane.
And what Tulane is doing to Memphis is what UTSA did to Tulane last week. Tomorrow night, star-studded West Coast matchup in the NBA. It's Suns and Clippers, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Countdown crew gets coverage started at 10. Big drive now for Brendan Lewis.
He's got all 3 timeouts and 43 seconds left here in the first half. Plenty enough time to put something together, but you got to be careful here as you're down around your 25-yard line.
Lewis has to check it down. Graham doesn't get to the first down marker. That'll keep the clock running. Memphis has to call a timeout. That's not good.
Sam Howard is down in pain, trying to get up.
Remember, he missed 2 games.
First charge timeout, Memphis.
It could be that foot that's caused him a lot, caused him to miss a couple of games already this season.
He's the heart and soul of that defense, of that team.
Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 35 seconds. 35. Thank you.
Just looked like a routine tackle, but I'm going to imagine, Anise, that he was already playing with some pain in that leg.
Now, we told you he was playing with a foot plate. He had a cracked fibula. Finished the ECU game playing on a cracked fibula. Back today after missing 2 games. You could see his teammates rallying around. That guy means a ton to the defense.
He's trying to go back to
the locker room. And John Summerall says, not right now.
Yeah, I mean, he wants back in right now. And I tell you what, guys feel that emotion. You see everybody kind of rallying around Sam Howard. That goes a long way. Boy, I'd love to be teammates with a guy like that. I mean, any day of the week.
All the coaches just raved about number 15.
Loves the game. You can see it in every snap that he plays.
Lewis is hit and thrown down.
Jordan Norman, the transfer from South Alabama, is able to get home, and Lewis not 100% tonight. That ankle is bothering him and can't get away from pass rushers when they get home.
3rd sack. Memphis didn't take a timeout. It's an easy pitch and catch. Bram gets out of bounds. 8 seconds to go in the half.
He's going to have the first down even after the sack. And as you mentioned, about 8 seconds left here to close out the first half.
They got a kicker with a big leg. If they get a chunk play and there's time, Spedek's got a shot. 3-man rush. Lewis has to check it down to Rosier. Shoved out of bounds. 1 second on the clock.
Now it's pretty much Hail Mary time.
Please reset the game clock to 2 seconds.
A second added.
We want to play here.
Lewis 14 out of 18, 160 through the air with a touchdown. But he's been outdone by Retzlaff. 14 of 15, 284, 4 total touchdowns. Over to the far side. That's Klus, tackled at midfield, and that's how the first half ends. Some Boo Birds here in Memphis, a little bit of angst for a Tigers team that was feeling pretty good after the rankings came out Tuesday. Zoom it. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Ram Trucks. It's the American Conference on ESPN. A bit of a shocker after one half. The road team, Tulane, leading Memphis, a team right in the middle of the playoff hunt, 35-17. And Ishraf, Andre Ware, we'll get to Paul Carcaterra in a minute. A lot at stake for Memphis. We talked about that in the first half, but Tulane and Jake Retzlaff, the story in the first 30 minutes.
Well, you want to talk about hot. I mean, that's probably the best half of football he's played in his entire collegiate career, but he could not miss in the first half of this one.
14 out of 15 as we look at tonight's game track, brought to you by American Express. Retzlaff threw for 3 touchdowns, ran for another, and this Tulane offense feasted on big, explosive plays.
Yeah, just dialing them up. He's hitting guys from, basically every way you needed to hit them, changing arm angles, driving the ball, throwing with touch, everything it takes to be a really good quarterback. Jake Retzlaff showed that in the first half.
We check in with Paul Carcaterra.
We also saw Retzlaff in the tent in the first half, and John Summerall, Tulane head coach, said he is a tough son of a gun. He would take anyone in his quarterback room in a dark alley, and Retzlaff's been so successful, he said, because of the protection the offensive line has provided, but he's just seen things extremely well. He also thinks Memphis will show some different looks defensively in this second half, and then for his defense, he loves the pressure they're getting up front and putting on Lewis.
Gordon on first down. Tornadoes across the 35. It's a gain of 15 yards for the freshman Javen Gordon.
Yeah, they have to show something differently, or Retzlaff is just going to continue at the pace that he was on in the first half. You got to mix, you got to blitz, you got to get in his face to force the ball out of his hands.
He's got time again. He's got an open receiver. Yet again, it's Bohannon zigging, zagging all the way inside the Memphis 20. Another big play through the air. This one goes for 42.
Yeah, that's been the story of this game. Big plays in the passing game for Tulane. And, he's not even really pulling it back now. There, his feet are flat, pointed at the secondary, and he's kind of flipping it from his hip. Boy, he's just showing out with it.
That time, Retzlaff with nowhere to go. And he goes down. It's a loss of 2. 15 out of 16, 326.
And after Clark told us he went in the 10th for a little while in the first half, missed a play or two, and then came right back, wanted back in the game, and just kind of picked up exactly where he left off.
He has followed up the worst game of his Tulane career with the best half.
And he's got Duke Cooper back on the field. I'm wondering how long it's going to take Retzlaff to find him.
He's beaten Cooper over the top for 2 touchdowns. Keep it on the ground. There's Gordon. They really like what he can be. It's going to be a high priority to keep Javen Gordon in New Orleans after this season. This was a young man who had committed to Duke originally, had a bunch of Power 4 offers.
Well, his head coach has been rumored all over the place. Top of the list in a lot of places, and I would imagine a guy like Javen Gordon, if John Summerall ends up leaving, 23 might follow him right on out the door.
3rd down and 8. Tulane 3 for 4 on 3rd down. Screen pass. Lewis snakes to the outside.
With the precision in which they're operating, throwing those tunnel screens. No wasted movement from Retzlaff to his receiver there, Lewis.
He's a little bit short. It's 4th down. And the kick team with Durkin will come on. Durkin had made his first 14 field goal tries of the season before missing a little 23-yard chip shot last week.
Take the points here early in the second half.
A 30-yarder for Patrick Durkin. And Tulane tacks on 3 to begin the third. These were the odds going into the night amongst the group of 5 to make the college football playoff. Remember, the big caveat here is it's the group of 5 conference champion who's highest ranked in the final college football rankings that gets that automatic qualifier. And if there are no group of 5 teams in the top 25 like there were in the first group of rankings, then they'll continue to rank those teams until you get to a group of 5 champion, and they're the team that will go to the college football playoff.
Team 26, team 30 from the group of 5 that's a champion, they still get a bid into the college football playoff.
Yep. Meanwhile, for Memphis, down by 3 scores, still plenty of time. It's a team that's shown it can come back. We saw it against South Florida. Lewis over the middle. He's got an open receiver. And a first down out to the 40-yard line. That's Hawkins. Clark.
Anish, Memphis has been a really good second half team. I spoke to Ryan Silverfield at the half, and he mentioned that they need to sustain drives, and keeping pace with this Tulane offense is going to be really tough. They can't abandon the run game. They've been a really good run game all entire season. And I'll get back to you in just 1 second.
Nowhere to go. Lewis is dropped by Mekhi Williams. Clark, to your point, they've outscored their opponents by more than 100 points in the second half.
But they're dealing with Jake Retzlaff, and that was the second part of everything, and they're not applying any pressure on him. And the one-on-one play on the outside and the perimeter with their corners not holding up, he said we have to get pressure on Retzlaff. He hasn't been touched really the entire game. Outside of the run game, Andre, he's been upright the entire time in the pocket.
Check down to Graham. It's going to bring up third down.
Totally in agreement with Clark. I mean, once did I see Retzlaff contacted. That was about it. Well, it looks like Graham is mixing it up along the sideline of Tulane after that catch. Memphis has got to find the end zone here soon, get themselves back in this thing, and then start to change up some looks defensively so that you cloud what Jake Retzlaff is looking at. Here comes a blitz by Tulane.
And they get home. Chris Rogers, second sack of the season.
Yeah, he's going to have to find a way to protect Brendan Lewis, because when they decide to blitz, he's not mobile enough to get away from it. And so he can slide a little bit in the pocket, but if you're asking him to escape with that left ankle, he just can't do it.
It's turned him into a pocket passer tonight, and Tulane's taken advantage. 4 sacks. Here's Hayes. Gets the edge. And out across the 30. Tulane with the ball. They have scored on 6 of their 7 possessions tonight.
Let's go back and take a look at all the ways that Tulane's put it in the end zone. Over the top to Shaz Preston. First play of the game for Tulane. Then Jim Gordon finds his way into the end zone. Retzlaff, he runs one in. Then a deep shot to Brown Stevens on a post route. He finds the end zone. And Retzlaff with a little sidearm action into the end zone, hitting Preston for his second of the night. brings us to 38 with a field goal thrown in there as well. And Tulane they are humming on offense. 7 drives, 5 touchdowns, and that field goal we just talked about.
And if this continues, they will shake up that American Conference Polaroid and that Group of 5 playoff picture. Mobley got the call on first down. If Memphis doesn't come back and Tulane wins, it opens the door in the American Conference for teams like, obviously North Texas, which has a clear path to the conference championship. Navy, you can't throw out ECU, obviously Tulane, but even for a team like James Madison in the Sun Belt, which is rooting for chaos in the American, because if James Madison wins
they
out,
slip in.
They've got a chance to get to the college football playoff. Again, plenty of time for Retzlaff. He'll take off, he'll run, and he's tracked down after a gain of 2 yards near the Memphis sideline, 3rd down.
Looked like he wanted to pull it back and throw it, and then decided the best thing to do was to keep it. And that's not a bad decision when you're the leading rusher of your offense. He is playing at an extremely high level tonight. It's fun to watch. Maybe not for the guys wearing the black unis.
Retzlaff keeps it. He gets squashed at the 40, shy of the marker.
Cruz Law is the defender that, I don't know that Retzlaff saw him coming from inside out. He decided to cut back or try to cut back, and Law was right there to make sure he was tapped down. A nice defensive stand there for Memphis. Now you got to go get some points.
Only the 2nd punt for Tulane. Sutton Smith waits at his own 22. Interesting formation. Now everybody back. Dig down. And a flag, delay of game.
Delay of game, kicking team, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
And now Clark can really hit this thing. That's what he's looking for, that 5 yards where he can just go ahead and nail it.
Tulane played its worst game of the year last week at UTSA, turned it over 4 times, threw 3 picks, gave up 500+ yards. They put together their best first half of the season here at Memphis, as Smith calls for the fair catch. And it's on the Tigers now. Can they mount a comeback? Down 3 scores. We're past the midway point of the 3rd quarter. Six teams in the American entered the weekend with 1 conference loss. ECU fell to Tulane. That was their lone conference loss. North Texas obliterated by South Florida. That was on Friday night earlier this year. Memphis, they South Florida lost to Memphis, a game in which the Bulls led. Point. Quick throw on first down. It's caught for a minimal gain. Jaden Thompson.
Nice job by Thompson of holding on to the football. He was contacted quickly and looked like the ball moved around a little bit, but he was able to hold on to it.
Lewis is 18 out of 22, 198 through the air. He's thrown a touchdown.
Not a bad night. The other guy on the other sideline has just been superhuman, though.
That's a first down catch. It's Hawkins who has the lone Memphis touchdown reception.
His first of his career.
Hawkins, a speedy guy, high school track star. Lewis threw it behind his man. That's his running back. DeRosier escorted out of bounds near midfield. They marked where he went out, which was the 46.
Well, it's amazing when you have that ankle injury that Lewis is dealing with. You go all week, you're getting treatment, you feel good in pregame up, and then all it takes is a little bit of turf monster, and that baby goes all the way back to how it started earlier in the week. It is the most frustrating thing that you could have happen to you as an athlete, because your mind's saying you can go, but that injury will not let you go at 100%.
That's going to be close to a first down. And that's some extracurriculars in the secondary. No flag.
But one of the big fellas, Travis Burke, downfield doing some work. Big old guy at 6'9", 315.
The run is enough to move the chains. Burke, the right tackle. Now for a team with 78 newcomers, one place continuity has helped. The offensive line, same 5 starters in every game. Blitz picked up, Luke in, but the pass too high. Joker Johnson in coverage, intended for Bram. There's a flag. It's going to be in the backfield
on Rogers. Rogers going to the head neck area of Brendan Lewis.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 4, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Do not go high on the quarterback. Heck, I don't know how you hit quarterbacks these days, the way the rule book is. But you're going to see Rogers just right to the helmet and the face mask area of Lewis. That gives Memphis the first down.
Throw deep into coverage. And broken up, incomplete. Kevin Adams, the safety, flagged down again.
Going to be an offsides on Tulane.
Offside, defense number 0 in the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
So Lewis knew that he had drawn Tulane offsides, had a free play, and decided to go deep with it. But a lot of bodies, edge guys coming across, and the ball is snapped. He knew exactly what he had. Was able to capitalize. Now 1st and 5.
Quick screen, near side. And Hawkins again for a pickup of 4.
Shine with the tackle for Tulane, and this is exactly what Memphis needs. They just got to speed it up a little bit. Lewis is out of the game. Here comes the backup.
Lewis keeps, gets a block, nearly lost his balance, and moves the chains for Memphis, a gain of 10.
Well, you got to give it up to Lewis. Lewis is just grinding through it. I mean, gritting his teeth and a little RPO action or design quarterback run. Just not sure I would have him in that situation.
And he is now limping off the field. The mobility hasn't been there. He has left 2 of the last 3 games with an injury. Arrington Maiden comes in. He's only attempted 1 pass this season. He has not completed a pass in his career, but he does have a rushing touchdown today. No surprise, he keeps it. That's the scouting report. He picks up 2. It's 2nd down. Less than 3 minutes to go in the 3rd.
It's just tough to tell with black uniforms, blue numbers. That previous play, it looked like Lewis had left the field, but he indeed stayed in. Now it is indeed Maiden that's under center for Memphis, or in the shotgun rather.
Maiden, the redshirt freshman from College Station, Texas. With the play clock at 5. It's a give straight up the middle. Kazan for a gain of 5. Frank Pizan had 3 touchdowns in the win against Rice last week. 6th-year senior, 5 years at Middle Tennessee.
But we haven't had a chance to see, this full display of running backs that Memphis has, and they've got 3 really talented backs. We hadn't seen them because of what the offensive production of Tulane has kind of forced Memphis out of their game plan early.
Now you've got a running quarterback in Maiden. Wishbone out of the pistol, and Pizan is met immediately. He lost yardage. It brings up 4th down. Cam Hamilton, an all-conference player last year with the TFL.
He played it perfectly. Just kind of gives the indication that he's going down inside, flashes back out after Maiden hands the ball off, and does a nice job with that tackle. That's just played extremely well by Cameron Hamilton.
4th down, you've got a quarterback in Maiden who has never completed a pass at this level. He's only attempted 1 throw this season. And he's going to run. Knocked down at the goal line. Did he get in? No, but it sets up a 1st and goal. So they boot him out. The instinct was to run. He takes a big hit, but moves the chains.
So he looks like he's shaking up himself. I thought he got in the end zone, Anish, but maybe a knee or something came down just shy of the goal line. But it looks like he's going to be able to walk in. It's spinning him around as he's being tackled.
Does any part of that ball cross the goal line before he gets in?
Watching that view, I don't think so.
No closer look from the replay booth. Maiden stays in. He'll run. Doesn't get there. And that takes us to the end of the third quarter. Tulane's won 31 straight when leading after 3.
Back in Memphis with head coach Ryan Silverfield of the Tigers. You're on the 1-yard line right now, Coach. What's critical for your offense moving forward to match this Tulane offense in the 4th quarter?
Obviously, we got to score points, and then defensively, we got to stop giving up the explosive. They're going to obviously try to run the ball in the 4th quarter. Our defense has to step up. Offensively, we got to get points here and keep responding.
Thank you.
Thank you.
11 plays, 76 yards, 6:41 off the clock currently on this drive for Memphis. Got to do it a little bit faster than that if you're going to get back in this one.
And Brendan Lewis is back in at quarterback for Memphis. Bad ankle and all. Under center out of the eye. Pizan, the power back, dots the eye. He gets the call, and he's in for 6.
He's known for a good short yardage runner, tough, willing to take on defenders. They do a nice job on that left side going behind Malachi Breland and Chris Adams. They open up a nice crease there for Pizan. Go for 2 here.
Analytics at play. Memphis on the season just 1 for 4 on a 2-point try.
First charge timeout. Tulane. 30 seconds.
That gets Tulane to use a timeout. Still a lot of time left. Only 1 play into the 4th quarter. Memphis came in as the projected 12 seed and group of 5 representative in the college football playoff. They've now scored at least 20 in 50 consecutive games, longest streak in the FBS.
That's amazing. There's a lot going right every single week. And when you're doing that, you're going to be in a lot of games. It's why they've won a lot of games around here under Ryan Silverfield.
They've won 11 straight at home. But Tulane's a team that has won 17 of its last 21 on the road. One of those road losses was last week against UTSA.
And then back September 20th against the good Ole Miss team.
Lewis, the shovel. That's Adcock, his fullback / tight end. And the conversion works, 38-25.
Great read, Jordan Norman, the defensive end. They get him to come upfield. You're going to see he comes upfield. They slip the tight end, Adcock, underneath. And it's just basically a walk-in for the fullback / tight end of Memphis.
His offensive coordinator, Tim Cramsey, calls Adcock meat.
Excellent blocker, solid receiving skills. There's a lot of time in this game. You got a full complement of timeouts. There's Memphis, and we are a long way from the finish line.
We were talking in the break, if you're Tulane, with all this time left, you've been so successful in the passing game. It's easy to say run the ball. You run the ball, you get a 3-and-out. Memphis scores. The whole complexion of this game changes.
You got to continue with a game plan. The way you started is how you continue. And you got to basically make Memphis quit. You got to force them. As long as they're trying to score, you are scoring. When you see that they fold up the tent, then you back off a little bit. But you cannot allow 3-and-outs to happen offensively. You take a hot quarterback like Retzlaff and cool him off yourself.
Retzlaff is tonight's dependable player, brought to you by Mavis Tire. He has pretty much pitched a perfect game. His one incompletion
was a drop. Justin Reed dropped one along the sideline. But other than that, Retzlaff would be, just perfect. 17 of 17, but that one drop knocks him down to 16 of 17, 332 and 3 touchdowns.
Incredible.
What a night.
Play action, they will throw. Incomplete, just his second incompletion of the game.
I think he saw the corner kind of falling off as he's trying to go to Brown Stevens, and then he just, you start to grip it a little tighter when you want it back, but you're already in motion, and that one just did a nosedive about 10 yards away from Brown Stevens.
And one of the few times tonight this Tulane offense behind schedule.
Yeah.
Memphis has not brought a lot of pressure. McClure driven back at about the 30-yard line and brings up a 3rd down and 5.
That's a nice little misdirection play. You pitch it to McClure thinking that he's going to go to the offense's right, defense's left. But then he runs it like a counter and comes back the other way from a pitch. Well-designed play by Joe Craddock, the offensive coordinator for Tulane. And puts him, to your point, puts him right back on schedule.
Due to Barnes in at running back. Three-man rush. Retzlaff's pass incomplete. Wanted Brown Stevens, second to drop. The throw was there. Memphis gets the 3-and-out it needed.
Well, Retzlaff looks like he's just kind of picking his teeth after having a nice steak, sitting in the pocket, sorting things out, and that ball is just accurately thrown, right on the money, over the outstretched hands of the linebackers, drop it deep, and it hits Brown Stevens right in the hands. Should have been a catch.
They just get the punt away. Smith, a dangerous return man, makes the catch and gets clipped immediately inside the 20.
Yeah, the coaches from Memphis want,
and here it comes.
They want a flag. They're going to finally get it, but I thought he put the fair catch signal up on really, really late.
Well, this could be a number of things. Kick catch interference.
I think that's what it's going to be. But he was late giving the fair catch signal.
And that's also a defenseless player trying to make the fair catch or make the catch on the return.
That ball was almost in his arms, and he's throwing up the fair catch signal, you're already engaged in starting in your motion to tackle at that point.
There is no foul on the play for kick catch interference as the player was pushed into the return man. It's first down, timeout on the field.
Here's why they picked up the flag on the last punt. Watch T.J. Smith, 13 and white, gets pushed from behind by Hawkins, and that's why he lands into Sutton Smith, who had called for a fair catch. Smith did call for a fair catch pretty late. Memphis got the 3-and-out it needed. They've got the ball back. What can Brendan Lewis do? First down, he completes. He's 22 out of 26 tonight. Jaden Thompson with a gain of 7. Remember, this Memphis team trailed by 2 touchdowns entering the fourth quarter against USF. They won that game. They were down 38-17 at the start of the fourth quarter tonight.
And you're right about Brendan Lewis. He looks like he's just kind of out for a stroll, not playing quarterback in a football game, a college football game. He's so relaxed that things are flying around. He's unfazed by it. The poise is just off the charts.
The drumbeat grows, the heartbeat slows. And he'll take the check down again to his running back. Sutton Smith with a gain of 8 and a first down. We've also seen that maturity, Andre.
Yeah.
If it's not there downfield, he doesn't force it.
Check it down. He's played a lot of football, and he knows what gets him into trouble and what doesn't. And taking check downs when they're in zone does not get you in trouble. Deep zone drops, throw it underneath and let a guy like Sutton Smith go to work for you.
Playing on a bum ankle. That was a dangerous tunnel. But they end up with 8. It's Kluse.
I don't think Malachi Williams realized the ball just crossed right in front of him. He is so adamant about getting to the running back that he didn't even see the football go right in front, right across his face mask.
If he puts his hand up,
he may be in the end zone right now.
2nd and 2. They go back to the screen. It's Bram. Breaks a tackle, gets out of bounds. I go back to what Owen McCown of UTSA did last week against Tulane. The tunnel screens, the swing passes, the short passes. They challenged Tulane to tackle in space, and the Green Wave struggled.
Yeah, they did, and that was one of the things that Coach Greg Gasparotto told us this week, is that they had to tackle well in space, out on the perimeter, because that's exactly what UTSA took advantage of, and they knew they were going to see it tonight against Memphis because of the success rate of UTSA.
There's pressure, and they get home again. It's Cameron Hamilton.
And that just shows you the lack of mobility by Brendan Lewis, because if he can step up into the pocket, he's basically protected, but he keeps drifting backwards, and so that allows Hamilton to get home and finish things off with a sack.
Lewis, with that ankle, just does not have the usual mobility. 5 sacks for Tulane. Green Wave rush 4. Another screen. It's Bram again. That's his 9th catch. He gets 8 back. It's 3rd and long. Hopper the tackle upfield. All right, if you're Tulane, you know the mobility is limited with Lewis. Do you bring some heat?
I would bring the heat, get the ball out of his hands, and then latch on in man-to-man coverage, play close man. But you're depending on the blitzer to get home and get the ball out of his hands. And here they come off the edge.
Everything's been a check down, a short pass, a screen. Here they come. Rodgers puts the hit on the QB. It's caught downfield. Memphis inside the 30, back to old reliable Cortez Brown.
Javion White just kind of overruns the football. And White comes back to catch it. Excuse me. Brown comes back to catch it and makes it a nice big play and continues the drive. Well, boy, we are headed for a fantastic finish.
Zone read, Lewis keeps. And run out of bounds by Joker Johnson.
Yeah, Tim Cramsey's got to get away from that. I know he wants to keep Tulane honest, but it's at the expense of Lewis. And he's just not mobile enough to run plays where they're designed quarterback runs without putting him in harm's way, because he's nowhere near close to being healthy.
Weight of that ankle holding up Memphis' playoff hopes. A chance at playing for the conference championship. Brendan Lewis on that bum ankle, 27 of 31. 285 through the air, and now movement.
Delay a game as well. Play clock was all the way down to 0.
False start. Offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Parker Mitchell, the Richmond transfer, the right guard. Down 2 scores. Is a field goal still in play if that's what happens, or do you have to treat this as 4-down territory?
Well, not yet. But boy, they need to get going faster. I'd be in some no huddle stuff by now.
That's caught at the 25, a gain of 7. It's Kluse. His 3rd catch. 3rd down.
Well timed between Kluse and Lewis, because it was Jaheim Johnson that was right there. Almost got a hand on the football.
Now a little urgency. Tulane almost jumped.
Gotta operate faster.
Free play. Lewis heaves one to the end zone. Caught for a touchdown. Brady Kluse. We got a little late drama in the American.
They love Kluse on 3rd downs.
Offside. Defense. The penalty is declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
On the move by Lewis, who realized he had Tulane offsides, put one in the corner of the end zone for Kluse, and he's able to come down with it, and we have got plenty of time to get to the finish line.
This game was on the verge of being a green wave tsunami. Memphis with a PAT makes it a 6-point game. Plenty of time. 7:49 remaining. The Tigers, with their backs to the wall, continue to claw.
ESPN College Football is presented by Ram, official sponsor of the College Football Playoff.
Like a charging tiger of rebellion, Memphis down 38-17 at the start of the 4th quarter has closed to 6. 7:49 remaining here in the 4th quarter. And Ashraf, Andre Ware, Paul Carcaterra, Jake Retzlaff has played his best game of the season as a passer. He's got gunslinger in him. What are you telling him, Andre?
If I'm Joe Craddock, the offensive coordinator, I'm telling him, look, just take what's there. We don't need to be a superhero. You don't have to go win it by yourself. We need to get to the finish line with more points than Memphis. That's all that matters at this point.
Here's the ABC Saturday college football lineup. Good one in Lubbock. Game day is going to be there. Big 12 superiority on the line. BYU and Texas Tech. Texas A&M #3 in the first college football playoff rankings. They go to Como. LSU's first game since the Brian Kelly firing.
Slate of games there, man.
They got Ty Simpson, the Heisman hopeful, and Alabama. Two tight ends on first down for Tulane. Flag down.
False start by Tulane, the right side of that offensive line. Not sure if it was Jordan Hall or Reese Baker.
Start. Offense number 50. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Indeed it was Jordan Hall, the right guard.
About the resiliency of the Memphis Tigers tonight, Brian Silverfield's team.
You could have easily just kind of wrote it off as it's not our night. That's not the case. They are right back in this game, cut it to 6 and plenty of time.
They told us 78 newcomers, most in college football, that this team is together and they play together. Gordon bottled up, got a yard, second and long. The safety, Bracey.
Stay within the game plan here. You don't have to abandon it. Nice little end around to Bohannon. And do what? Right there on the spot is Chris Bracey.
Bohannon, I beg your pardon. Now Gordon is the running back. Second and long. The nickel blitz, Retzlaff downfield, and he overshoots Anthony Brown-Stevens.
By about 10 yards. There's going to be, Stevens is going to catch up to it, or nobody else was. And big third down here for Jake Retzlaff. 3rd and 14 to be exact. Exactly where Memphis wanted to have Tulane behind the sticks. This is just... This is one heck of a game. I mean, it has been ebbs and flows. The entire first half belonged to Tulane. The second half belongs to Memphis.
Retzlaff started 16 of 17. He's missed on his last 3. Pressure. Throwing on the run. Broken up. Incomplete.
Bracey. I think it's Bracey again with the pass defended. Lays out and is able to get a hand on the football just enough to get it out. Retzlaff feeling pressure for one of the few times in this game. Memphis able to get home with a blitz, and Bracey with one heck of a pass breakup to force a punt here.
Alec Clark averages 47 yards a kill. This is a short punt. Sutton Smith flagged down. He's tackled immediately at the 37.
During the kick, holding. Receiving team number 4. 10-yard penalty, enforcing the kick. First down, timeout on the field.
If Memphis rallies with a quarterback on a bum ankle and a big deficit, this could be one of those games you point to as part of a Cinderella story. Let's look at our dynamic play of the game presented by T. Rowe Price. Memphis trailed by 21 going into the 4th quarter. This touchdown from Lewis to Kluse got the Tigers to within 6. And from the dying embers, they've managed to forge a bit of a fire. Win probability was at 1% entering the 4th quarter. Lewis thrown to the ground. Harvey Dyson, one of their top pass rushers. 5th sack of the season for Dyson.
Just can't take that sack. Oh, you can't take it. Throw it away. Something, whatever you got to do, you can't take that set.
Dozen sacks by this Tulane defense. Second and long. Five-man rush. It's a corner blitz. Lewis gets lit up. Throws deep into double coverage. And it's intercepted by Jack Chenchu. And Lewis is down in the backfield.
And it was pressure by Chris Rogers, who came free on Lewis. He was just trying to heave one up, trying to get it all back. The sack, the touchdown, all of it. Knew he was going to take a shot. He did. But it was Chenchu on the back end who reads it perfectly. Takes a shot from Chris Rogers. And Jack Chenchu on the back end has given the ball back to Tulane at about its 35-yard line.
The turnover beads for Chenchu. Now it's Tulane's turn on offense with the lead. 6:11 to go. Out of a double tight end set, they run it on first down for a gain of 3. Second down and 7.
Just playing bully ball, tighten everything down and run it right up the middle with Gordon. Tighten the formation down, the tight ends are tight. Everybody's squeezed together and they're still able to get 3 yards out of it and have the clock run.
You saw Lewis limping on the sideline. He's battled tonight on that ankle. Retzloff was in the tent earlier in the game. He's going to throw. There's a flag down.
And a hold. It's going to be a hold on Jordan Hall.
Another penalty on Hall. That's 3 tonight.
Actually, they're going to pin it on someone else. It's going to be Jack Holyfield, who plays right next door to Jordan Hall.
Holding. Offense, number 58. 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
And then an 8 from this distance looks like a 0.
It's Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, affectionately for years the Liberty Bowl, undergoing a massive $220 million renovation.
Who wants it more? That's what it's going to come down to here as we near or get closer to 5 minutes.
Tulane needs the 45. Retzloff with a sidearm throw, incomplete. It's now 3rd and long. And to your earlier point, you're Retzloff. You've got to understand, right? The situation, your team's got the lead. Don't force a throw.
Yeah, not the time to be a superhero. Not the time to squeeze it into coverage. Kind of take what's there. If it's a run and then a catch and run for a first down, that's how you got to do it. Live with that, but don't force it into coverage and have this ball intercepted with a short field.
Five straight incompletions for Retzloff. Almost picked. That was Duke Cooper, who almost got a measure of redemption. It's now 6 straight incompletions for Retzloff. 16 of 17 start.
And a guy who's been picking on all night long kind of rears up and almost made him pay. He had his hands on it, went right around the intended receiver, Lewis, and just couldn't hold on to it, Anish.
And that's what we talked about. That was the first real risky throw by Retzloff tonight. Fair catch made by Smith at the 28. Another chance for Memphis. 4:59 to go in regulation. A touchdown into PAT gives the Tigers a lead in a game in which Memphis trailed by 21 going into the 4th quarter. Let's reset the stakes. Memphis came into the game as the projected group of 5 playoff participants. For the Tigers to get to the college football playoff, everything's in front of them. They control everything. If they win out and they win the American Conference Championship, they are in the college football playoff, but they've got to get past Tulane first.
And you literally have to take them one at a time, because if you blow through the regular season and you wind up winning them all, you still have a team like South Florida waiting on you for redemption.
Arrington Maiden back in at quarterback. Let's check in with Kark after this penalty.
It's right in that area where you get a hold.
So Brendan Lewis on the bench.
Holding. Offense, 10-yard penalty, still second down.
Gentlemen, Brendan Lewis cannot apply any pressure on his lower half. We know the ankle injury coming in. He's been sacked 6 times. So now Arrington Maiden, who's attempted 1 pass all season, Tulane is going to force him to be a passer down the stretch here. The one thing he has going for him, he's got the crowd behind him. This place has gotten berserk in the 4th quarter with all these Memphis runs.
Maiden has never completed a pass in his collegiate career, and it stays that way. Bram can't hold on. Just the 2nd pass attempt of the season for the redshirt freshman who replaced an injured Lewis in the 4th quarter last week as well.
Well, you just hate to see Lewis not be able to finish this one. So close, an opportunity, a big opportunity for his team. All the momentum in this one, and he just can't finish it.
Maiden spins away.
Oh, nice.
And they rule that a catch.
It's a heck of a
Close.
first collegiate completion.
And it sets up a 3rd down at about 9.
Right along the sideline. Nice job by Kluse, keeping his toes in bounds.
5 catches, 61 yards for Kluse. Flag down. And a completion across midfield. Back to Kluse. That was a free play.
This is going to sting.
Is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
That's twice now on a Tulane offsides. Memphis has connected downfield.
And both to Kluse. One for a touchdown and then a big play there to move the chains and give them a first down. And life still in the lungs of this Memphis offense.
This game has been a roller coaster ride, now in the hands of a backup quarterback. Maiden finds Bram, his 11th catch of the night. 113 yards receiving, another first down for Memphis.
The big receiver at 6'2", 201 is able to shake free of the smaller corner in Jaheim Johnson and pick up a couple of extra yards. Tell you what, that's 3 in a row for Maiden.
Now they hand it off. Nope, Maiden keeps. What a play in the backfield. Kevin Adams.
A guy that played a lot last year, but is now a rotational player, and this is in the open field. One of the things that Tulane felt it had to do was tackle well out on the perimeter. Well, guess what? Kevin Adams III right there with a big open field tackle on Arrington Maiden.
On 2nd down. Maiden, here's the check down. DeRosier for 7. It sets up 3rd down. Obviously 4-down territory. Memphis with 3 timeouts. They've got the 2-minute timeout. They can take their time here to prevent Tulane from getting the ball back should Memphis score.
That was a huge tackle by Adams because Maiden's going to run for a while if he doesn't make that play. And at least he's going to pick, at the very least, he's going to pick up a first down.
That's what Memphis needs. On 3rd down, to run up the middle. Santana Hopper with the tackle, no gain, and now it comes down to this. They can let this run all the way down to the 2-minute timeout.
Still with 3 timeouts left. But you may not get it back, so you have to go here if you're Coach Silverfield.
How about this finish?
This is the
Tulane led by 21 at the start of the 4th. Memphis with the ball at the Tulane 30. It's 4th and 3 when we come back. Playoff stakes, playoff implications tonight at Ashraf Andre Ware, Paul Carcaterra, Memphis trailing 38-17 when we started the 4th quarter, facing a 4th down and 3. They've got 3 timeouts, but the offense will come out on the field. They've got their backup quarterback, Arrington Maiden, out there, who had not completed a pass prior to this drive. He's completed 4 on this drive. Brendan Lewis, their starter, banged up and injured on the sideline. It comes down to this play.
Yeah, fully expecting them to get Arrington Maiden on the perimeter. They're going to roll him out here, not just have him go to work from the pocket.
Can they extend the drive? And that was the one thing Memphis could not afford.
Start. Offense, number 12.
Oh, no.
5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Kluse, who is reliable, smart guy, just jumps. Now it becomes an even tougher task at 4th and 8.
What do you dial up?
I'm going to get him on the corner. I mean, on the edges, try to roll him out, but away from Harvey Dyson.
How aggressive is Tulane? They rush 5. Made it. Here's it downfield. Bram cannot hold on. Tulane takes over. Memphis does have all 3 timeouts.
And I tell you what, well, that fade, he's got a lot of room, and boy, that's well-thrown ball. Well thrown. Just kind of looked at it wrong, turned over the wrong shoulder. Go ahead and turn all the way around and commit to making that grab as opposed to trying to catch it and continue running.
For Tulane, they need a 1st down. But in the 4th quarter, they've run 9 plays for 8 yards. And Retzlaff is 0 for 6 after starting 16 of 17. Gordon for a gain of about 3 or 4. Timeout Memphis. 1:50 to go.
First charge timeout of the half. Memphis, please reset the clock to 1:51, 1:51.
Sports Center with Michael Eaves follows our game. What a Friday night it's been. You've got Memphis trying to play itself into the conference championship picture. That's why, like Han Solo says, never tell me the odds. Because playoff odds, playoff projections for the group of 5, it's a different formula in the sense that at the end of the day, if you don't win your conference,
forget about it.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Unless you're an at-large, and nobody from the group of 5 is getting an at-large this year. And a loss here for Memphis would take them and put them in a very precarious position to get to the conference championship. Tulane, on the other hand, increases their odds to get to the conference championship with a win. Memphis crowding the box on 2nd down. Retzlaff, quarterback run. They got a yard, maybe 2. 3rd down, another timeout by Memphis.
Tulane will want to run to the left side of their line. That's their strength. You got guys like Shadre Hurst, who wants to line up, physically hit you in the mouth. This is a seasoned group, and they're primed from an experience like they had last week. They felt like they didn't close the game out against UTSA. They didn't bring their best game. And the challenge this week was to physically give it to Memphis. And when you look at guys like Shadre Hurst, I mean, here's a guy, Andre. We talk about linebackers with neck rolls. This is an offensive lineman. He doesn't have tape even on his wrists.
Yeah, he is a guy that plays with an angry streak, loves contact, loves one-on-one matchups, and he loves run blocking.
We saw Tulane with some great escapes against ECU and Army. 3rd down and 4.
play clock.
And now a timeout by Tulane.
Second timeout of the half, Tulane. 30 seconds.
A Tulane team that early in the year banked wins against Northwestern and Duke. Lost at Ole Miss, no shame in that. The surprise was last Thursday at UTSA. They bounced back. John Summerall told us the theme this week was so what, now what? Yeah, you lost to UTSA. What do you do now? They had Memphis on the ropes and have had the Tigers on the ropes for most of this game. If they get through Memphis and win today, it's a pretty favorable remaining schedule.
Yeah, Florida Atlantic, Temple, who's having a pretty good season in their own right. And then you close it out with Charlotte, a game that they will obviously be favored in. So, gotta finish this one first. Still time on the clock, and Memphis with the lone timeout.
Retzlaff morphs into an empty set. It's an RPO. He runs, and he's got the first down for Tulane. They put the ball in the hands of their best offensive player.
But they're going to get everybody just kind of leveraging, and then everybody here with blocks inside creates a nice running lane around the edge for Retzlaff. And he takes full advantage. They got man-to-man. Guys are running down the field, covering receivers, and nobody sees Retzlaff escape around the edge and picking up the first down.
How good has he been tonight?
Really good. There are times that I thought once Memphis started to make its comeback that he tried to do a bit too much, but then he kind of reeled it back in and, hey, I got to go win a football game, do it the smart way, not put my team at risk. And he's had one heck of a night.
Memphis used up its final timeout. Tulane is on the verge. Victory formation.
One of my favorite play.
Last year, Memphis thwarted Tulane's bid to host the American Conference Championship game. Tulane had to go to Army, where they lost. Now Tulane may have ended Memphis's shot, not only at a conference championship, but at the college football playoff.
A lot at stake in this one coming in. I tell you, it was the start that Tulane had that was just too much to overcome for Memphis. Jumped them early, and he kind of was able. They were able to basically coast once Memphis started to make a comeback.
So with Tulane's win tonight, the updated percentages to make the college football playoff. South Florida, they jump up to 39%. North Texas has the easiest path of the American Conference contenders to get to the conference championship game. They've got UAB and Rice on the road, and then they finish with a home game at Temple.
And if my memory's right, they've already taken care of Navy.
They took care of Navy last week. Tulane gets the win against Memphis, a bounce-back performance for the Green Wave on the road against a Tigers team that was the projected Group of 5 playoff team entering the night. Jake Retzlaff was sublime. 4 touchdowns, 3 through the air, 1 on the ground. Paul?
Coach, you're smiling. You're smiling with your family right now. A little close at the end, but we have to talk about your quarterback, Jake Retzlaff. I mean, last week was his toughest outing in a Tulane jersey, and today he responded. What did you learn about him?
He's a tough dude, man. Like, I'll walk down a dark alley with Jake Retzlaff, Brennan Sullivan, that quarterback room, I'll go anywhere with him.
The theme this week, so what, now what? What's the best part of coaching this team?
I love these guys. They're fun. They've driven me crazy at times this year. I've said it all year, we're young, but man, like, they're keeping me young or they're gonna make me grow old real fast, one of the two. But man, I'm just so proud of their fight, because last week sucked. we all knew it was like our worst game we could possibly play, and for them to respond and pick themselves up, it shows how mentally tough they are.
You are young, only 5 returning starters. You're doing an amazing job. Enjoy this with the family.
RMFW, you know what that means.
John Summerall and Tulane now 4-1 in conference play. They bounce back from that loss at UTSA in a big way with one of their biggest wins of the season. On the road at Memphis for Ryan Silverfield's Tigers. You wonder what lies ahead. But Tulane still in the hunt for a conference championship, still in the hunt for a college football playoff berth. Time for SportsCenter with Mike.